the very start, European governments stumbled in response to the turmoil. Conflicts first appeared at this meeting in Paris on October 4th, 2008. Banks in Britain and France had already started to collapse, but Europe's leaders couldn't agree on what to do about it. France's Christine Lagarde had proposed a European rescue fund for troubled banks. But Germany's Angela Merkel wanted nothing to do with bailouts of any other country's financial problems. In a closed session at the summit, Merkel sternly told President Nicolas Sarkozy, every country must clean up its own shit. Ironically, that very day, a German mortgage lender suddenly needed a massive government bailout, and it was Merkel who had to write the check. A French newspaper quoted Sarkozy's gloating. Merkel told me each to his own shit, and then she ends up in it. Maybe the meeting failed, but it was not my failure, it was Merkel's. She fell into her own trap. The epicenter of this battle was in France, where workers have always been quick to the barricades. Because of the meltdown, in March 2009, the Continental Tire Company announced that it would be forced to close its factory in the town of Clairoix, cutting 1,120 jobs. The plant was still showing a profit, but according to the factory boss, Louis Forzy, the workers here were just not as motivated and productive as they should be.
Selon moi, et c'est les chiffres qui le montrent, nos résultats sont inférieurs à ceux des autres usines.
Continental workers labeled Forzy a thief and a liar. They convened a meeting at the plant to organize a protest.
J'ai supprimé ma vie de famille pour Continental. C'est honteux.
Forzy showed up to address them. He made a show of his patience and forbearance, until an egg in the head changed his mind. He immediately decided that perhaps he had underestimated the situation and made a tactical withdrawal from the field of battle.
Why did that happen? Why?
Because people were shocked, they were angry.
Je pense aussi qu'il était au courant depuis longtemps qu'il allait y avoir une fermeture du site.
The Continental employees moved on to occupy the town offices.
Mais le bureau du sous-préfet, c'est où? Ouais, vous êtes avec nous, vous êtes avec les Conti, madame, là, quand même.
Les gars, on n'est pas venu ici pour rigoler. On n'est plus des moutons, on est des lions.
When union leader Xavier Mathieu received news that a judge refused to grant them an injunction to stop the plant closing, he and the workers began trashing the place.
On n'ira pas à l'abattoir sans se défendre. C'est clair et net. Le désespoir des gens qui sont foutus dehors. C'est pas de la cruauté, ça? C'est pas de la violence? Si, c'est de la violence. Il n'y a pas que la violence physique dans la vie. Il y a la violence morale aussi. Moi, je suis fier de ce que les mecs ils ont fait aujourd'hui. Et n'attendez pas.
The worker uprising began to spread across the country and became increasingly threatening. The Caterpillar Heavy Equipment Company in Grenoble announced that, in spite of record profits, they would be cutting 20,000 jobs worldwide, over 700 here in France. The global meltdown would reduce demand for their bulldozers, so production would have to slow down. On March 2nd, workers surrounded the plant. They were following the instructions of union leader Pierre Picaretta, who, like his father before him, has worked his whole life at Caterpillar.
On est des humains Et on n'accepte pas, là, tête baissée, cette économie qui nous fait souffrir. Donc on ne pouvait pas accepter comme ça le fait d'annoncer des bénéfices records et de licencier les personnes.
Oh, venez les gars, vous faites quoi là?
3 weeks of negotiations led nowhere.
Tous ensemble, ouais! Ouais! Tous ensemble, ouais! Ouais! On veut une solution!
Furious workers surrounded the management offices and decided to hold the management team captive. The first union leader on the scene was Nicolas Benoit.
Ce coup-là, les patrons ne sont pas partis, donc on les a obligés à venir à la table des négociations pour discuter. Ils ont refusé, donc les salariés ont dit tant que vous ne reprenez pas des négociations qui sont des négociations sérieuses, vous restez là.
Et là, vous êtes séquestré ou pas?
Pour l'instant, nous sommes... Non.
Nicolas Polutnik led the management team that was taken prisoner. At first, he refused any further discussions with the union.
Faut pas nous prendre pour des putes. Alors messieurs, vous voulez reprendre les négociations?
With the Caterpillar bosses held captive, the situation became increasingly dangerous. The police did not immediately intervene. The union leaders were trying to keep control of the situation. After an anxious night, Caterpillar management agreed to resume negotiations. In exchange, the union allowed the bosses to leave the plant, although there were some tense moments on the way out. Pierre Picaretta tried to claim victory.
Je pense que le message est passé et je crois que rapidement, dans les jours qui vont suivre, ça va lâcher fortement.
The Caterpillar bosses who were kidnapped decided to keep silent about their ordeal. But many bosses in France realized they could soon end up in a similar predicament.
On pourrait qu'avoir la réunion à 7h30. Est-ce que ça vous irait?
One of them was Marcus Carriou, the human resources manager for a U.S. car parts company called Molex. He was sent into the town of Villemur, near Toulouse, to close a Molex factory that had operated here for many years. The workers were furious, and very quickly their anger focused on Carriou. Along with nasty graffiti, Carriou says he became the target of email threats.
You know, when you read about some extremists, you know, saying that people like me should be exterminated, you know, so it's, I mean, I think it's shocking to see that.
The town of Villemur would be hard hit by the closure of the Molex plant, which represents 20% of its tax revenues. The local parish priest, Philippe Bachet, led the community support effort for the Molex workers.
Et tous ceux qui se sont mobilisés doivent continuer à l'être pour que notre ville ne devienne pas un désert industriel.
On the morning of April 20th, 2009 in Villemur, Marcus Carriou was consulting a security company about how to act in case he should be kidnapped. Ironically, that afternoon, union leader Denis Paris showed up and placed him in captivity.
Et on veut 100 millions d'euros aussi pour préjudice. Et on lui a dit, écoutez, maintenant vous allez nous donner les explications et on va vous garder avec nous pour que vous nous donniez toutes les informations pourquoi vous avez fait ça.
Within 1 hour, there were media all over the plant. I felt like an animal in a cage. The people there, they offered some food. They offered us some mattresses as well so that we could comfortably sleep in this office. The mattress was absolutely dirty, and also I was in touch with our security advisor. He said, well, you know, in 1 out of 2 cases they spit in the sandwiches, so I didn't want to touch that.
After 26 hours, Marcus Carriou and his colleague Colin Colbach were released from captivity.
Oui, je suis fatigué, soulagé de partir.
Even as they left, they felt threatened.
You could see from people shouting and screaming that there was extremely heavy aggression there. My colleague, I mean, she came out and she was in tears afterwards because she didn't expect, she had been working quite a couple of years with these people to react like this.
In the end, the Molex company paid some extra compensation to the laid-off workers, but did not back down from closing the plant. The rage against Marcus Cariou only increased, to the point that he travels with bodyguards as he conducts final negotiations. Cariou complained that he was treated like a monkey in a zoo, but union leader Paris openly threatens him with much worse.
Il n'est pas encore reparti, Cariou, s'il faut arriver à le séquestrer. Mais là, je parle de séquestration et le traiter comme un singe, on va y arriver. C'est fort possible que ça arrive aussi, d'ici la fin. Mais bon, il verra la différence du traitement qu'il a eu et du traitement qu'il va avoir.